Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sunny Side Up. And today, our guest is Varun Badola, the Varun Badola from Indian television. He's a superstar on Indian television. And in addition to being an actor, he's also an avid writer. He's a singer, a natural photographer, and he loves to ride his bike. Not to forget, he's also a great cricketer. Welcome to the show, Varun.
Thank you so much.
So let's start off by saying, what is your process as an actor? We hear that some actors put on weight, some actors put on accents. How do you morph into a character?
Uh, I think the physical aspect of acting is very important. And a lot of people would have a difference of opinion on that. As I remember, when this whole Stanislavski school of acting, the method acting came in, even the great English actor Laurence Olivier, he came down just to see what the whole fuss was all about and was never impressed. But personally speaking, I think it does make a difference that if you start looking the part, um, at times, half your battle is won. And so when, when Robert De Niro trained as a boxer under Jake LaMotta for his performance in The Raging Bull, it showed. As Jake LaMotta said that he was probably in the top 20 of the world at that time, and then he changed his physique, or rather, he gained some 65 odd pounds or something, and came back after 3 months to do the second part of the film, and so much so that he was almost unrecognizable. So, you know. Yeah, it does make a difference. I think changing your physical presence makes a lot of difference. But apart from that, that is just one side of it. I think getting into the mind of the character is more important. I would not even say equally important, but more important than anything else. So there's so many things that one has to think about. Like this recent show that I'm doing, Mere Dad Ki Dulhan, usme I am supposed to be this guy living in Ghaziabad, which is now almost a satellite city to Delhi, though it falls in UP. But that place has its own lingo. Though I essentially am from Allahabad in the show too, but I've been living there for the longest time now. And so, I think the place that you live in does have some effect on your language, your basic being. Plus, the character lost his wife 8 years back, lives with his daughter, and is quite a recluse. So usually, then you have to think about giving certain nuances to the character. You start working on the idiosyncrasies of the character as to how he would behave with people. If he's a recluse living alone with just the daughter, how is he going to talk to different individuals? What would be his capacity for? What would be his patience level? And so many things. So I think the list goes on, and especially when you're doing a daily soap, at times it so happens that you're already 4 to 5 episodes down when you really get the hang of things, which actually does happen a lot of time, but should not happen that way, because I think you should be at the top of the game in the very first episode itself. But then, so many things happen in life. But yes, I well, after I listen to the story, I usually try and make a complete graph of the character. The physical aspect of it is one thing. Then the mental aspect, his nature, his speech, that is second. And then, in the longer run, what the character is going to be 50 episodes down the line, you have to keep that in mind too, and make very subtle changes in between, probably every 10 episodes or whenever the situation demands. So that, when you reach that particular point, if you reach a certain milestone in a show, um, it should not look forced. It should feel as if it was seamless. So, if you really want to do it right, it is a pretty difficult thing to do.
So how did you morph into this character, like, the single father, so to speak? And what drew you to this project? I mean, what was the point that stood out in this project?
Uh, the father-daughter relationship. Um, well, something told me that the show was really going to do. Show was going to do well. The only thing left to be seen was that who was going to play the daughter. And then I met Anjali Tatrari for the first time, and um, I would not say that we hit it off instantly. We didn't, because obviously she was a newcomer, and I've been around for a while. So it so happens that most of the times you find the youngsters getting slightly intimidated, but then probably she understood that the success of the show actually depends on how good a bond we two would share. And I think after the first 2 months, there was no looking back. Um, Not that we did badly in the first 2 months. We did not do badly at all. But after the first 2 months, the difference between the real life and the real life, that line just got diminished. So what we are is what you see on screen.
Yeah, I've heard very good things about your chemistry with Anjali, and it seems that I think you're a mentor to her, and um, that is probably one of the reasons why she is flourishing as an actress as well. So I think that was a very good move on everybody's part. But again, coming back to the point of when you looked at the project, you said that it was because of the father-daughter relationship. But besides the father-daughter relationship, anything else stood out for you?
These so-called middle-aged love stories aren't attempted very easily on television, and this was one great opportunity where you could probably cater to the slightly aged audiences, if I may call them so, and then probably show everybody another aspect or perspective of life. Um, in India, you would know that if you're a widower, or if you are really not married till the age of 40, um, mostly all opportunities are closed for you. But that's exactly what this show is trying to break, that norm, that a daughter is trying to find a life partner for the father. And now this is something which is not very common in our country. And so that was, there was definitely something unique about the whole concept. And so what has happened is that you have two senior actors who probably have their own fan base. And then on top of it, anybody and everybody who was not watching television till now, I know, the men folk of the house, they had completely given up on TV. They came back to watching television after a long, long time. And that was probably, that's my personal feeling. That wasn't because of the love story. but that the reason for their coming back to television was the father-daughter relationship. And when you get the feedback, it's almost a 50-50. There, I think probably I think there are more people watching this show because of the father-daughter relationship than the love story actually. So the concept was unique and something that I had never done before in my life. Well, I'm barely a father. I became a father 10 years back. That's all right. But to be a father to a daughter who's 22, 23, um, it requires a completely different mindset. But then, because, as I said, because of my bond with Anjali, it so happened that, as the time passed, I became very protective, I became very possessive, and all those things. So, a lot of things, so many things really simplified. And it's great fun, though.
So do you consider this to be one of your, I would say, finer performances, or which performance of yours would you consider the best? And which role that you played up until now would be your best?
Um, See, I think if you compare two characters, it's quite an apple to oranges kind of comparison because, like, I personally liked Ek Chabi Hai Pados Mein a lot, which was aired on Star Plus. But then it was a completely different genre. It was a slice of life show. Astitva was a story which was, at that time, I felt way beyond its times, where a 24-year-old boy gets married to a 34-year-old woman. And not that we haven't seen this happen in our society, but then, usually people would not talk about it. Uh, Both were very difficult performances because one was so simple that it was difficult. The other one was so complex that it was difficult. So, comparing two characters, a lot of people think that Koshish Kasha, where I played Demented, that was the first so-called successful show that I did, would have been, would always be the automatic choice for the most difficult part that I did. But no, at times, the simpler parts are more difficult because if you just portray them simply, they might end up looking dry. So you have to give those characters enough padding, and you at times really have to think out of the box while doing the scenes so that you keep the audiences interested. And well, I guess whenever you are acting, my first um, what should I say, dictate to my own self is that come out of your comfort zone. If you remain in your comfort zone, you really nobody gets far if they don't come out of the comfort zone. Astitva was completely out of my comfort zone. This one, Mere Dad Ki Dulhan, is again completely out of it. And like something like Ades Mein Nikla Hoga Chand, where I played that lover boy, was, I would say that it was like the back of my hand because my wife tells me I'm not that romantic. So probably she's right. Uh, but every character has its own verticals to climb. So comparing two would be virtually impossible. But then, as I always feel that the best performance is the one that I have not given as yet. Still waiting.
You think you're still waiting for the best performance? That's really, not too many people would say that, but it shows how humble you are because you are thinking like that. Um, is there a role that you haven't played yet and you would like to play that in the future?
Every role that has ever been conceptualized, and well, let me be honest, this is not the first time that I've been asked a question like this, and I have never had an answer to this question because it's like, picking out just that one important droplet from the ocean. I don't even know where that droplet lies. So any good character that comes my way, if I feel interested, if I think that this character would keep me interested for some time, I would love to pick it. Like Mere Dad Ki Dulhan, who thought that it'll be offered to me? So
No, you're
I
actually
just
perfectly cast for this role, if you ask me. I mean, I've seen promos and all, and I think that you are pretty well cast in this role in Mere Dad Ki Dulhan. That's pretty much what I feel. But
no, I know of a few actors personally who probably could have done a better job. I think I should thank the producers for not trying to find them. So
no, but I think they know they कहते हैं ना वो हीरे की परख जौहरी को ही होती है तो जौहरी ने देख लिया ये हीरा है तो वो हीरा आ गया. That's it.
मैंने अपने प्रोड्यूसर को बोला था, यू हैव ग्रेट टेस्ट.
मैं अपनी बीवी को हर दिन यही बोलता हूँ. चलो
मैं अपने दोस्त की वाइफ को मैंने बोला था,
अच्छा.
उसका नाम रोहित था. मैंने कहा यार, I must say, मुझे पता नहीं था, but रोहित has great choice. बोलते थैंक यू. मैंने कहा तुम्हारी चॉइस को क्या हो गया था बेटा, उसके बारे में भी तो सोच लेते.
No, that is true. But I think I must say you're very well cast. And again, I mean, I have a bunch of photos. I'm just trying to figure out how I can share them because I don't want to share bachpan ki and this and that ki photos. I want to share relevant photos. I'm just trying to work behind the scenes while we do this. But while we are doing it, I want to also ask you. We know that you have enjoyed in working in the past with the Tighmanshu Dhulia. Do you want to tell us about your experience working with him?
Whatever I know about acting or writing or filmmaking, he's the man to be blamed. Acting, not completely, but then again, yeah, acting on television or on the screen, because see, my father was a huge theater actor, and but then how we act on stage in India, especially, or rather world over, or should I say, is very different from how we do it on screen. No matter how much we try and say that no, television and films, require you to be more natural, and stage, I'd rather you should be natural on stage too. That doesn't happen. So my diction, my composure, my basic performance sensibilities, they were all, they all percolated down from my father. And everything else was given to me by the Tighmanshu Dhulia, because I used to be I had reached the status of the chief AD and the additional dialogue writer. And well, the company that he had for friend, in a sense, Irfan Khan was a very dear friend of his. We shared our birthday. We were both born on the 7th of Jan. So every day, without fail, he would come over after finishing his work, and we would just go down in the parking lot, play cricket, and then come back and discuss all the work that we had done throughout the day. And then you had Sanjay Mishra for company, because he was also Tighmanshu Dhulia's batchmate from NST. Then you had Saurabh Shukla. If Piyush Mishra was in town, he would join in. So you had, quite a collection of actors under the same roof if there was a party, and even when they were working. Um, so I don't ever remember having a very inconsequential conversation with any of them, in the sense there would be something or the other that they would just drop, which would prove to be a gold mine for you, or any youngster for that matter. So how to approach a scene, how to approach a character, anything and everything about acting, the nuances. I learned them when I was working with Tighmanshu Dhulia. From him and from all the other actors who he cast in his shows. And he was very particular about who he cast for every character because he could not tolerate non-actors. So even those small little characters were pretty well cast. And yeah, that was that. So all in all, yeah, it was a great experience being around him.
I think the next question Anjali is going to ask you.
Okay, so this
Complete.
Anjali.
Complete.
So this first question is from Sanjay.
Yes.
And he asks, was Banegi Apni Baat from 1994 your first show? And how did you get into acting to begin with?
So I basically I came to Mumbai in 1996. Banegi Apni Baat started in 94, but I only joined it in the fag end. And I became an actor by the process of rejection. I knew what all I did not want to do. A 9 to 5 job was not made for me. Then there was a time I wanted to be a journalist, and I thought that no, it was already too corrupt a profession. Um, Little did I know that acting was even more corrupt. But then I had to earn a living for myself. Uh, so basically, I gave almost some 4 to 5 different professions a thought, and I came to a conclusion that no, expressing myself on camera or on screen or on stage would be my way of living. And so in 1996, I came to Mumbai.
Okay. And his follow-up into that is, since then, from your point of view, how has the industry changed in terms of giving new actors a break, or new actors trying to make a break in the industry?
There's a lot of work now. When I started, the work was pretty limited. Uh, well, Sony, Z, Star, all three channels had come up, but your prime time was probably just of 1 hour or 1.5 hours. Plus, you had weeklies. So finding work was not very easy. And पहले एक चलन था, you had to make a pilot and then you had to submit that pilot episode in channels. So, well, I know of a lot of actors who actually made a fortune just doing pilots, and those shows never came on air. So, yeah, there was a lot of pilferage, a lot of wastage in those times too. But then ultimately, you would only get recognized if your show ever went on air, and the possibility of that was pretty remote. So it's easier for actors now in the sense that there is more work, but then uh, I personally feel that if you are not up to the mark, now the industry does not give you a second chance. And you can't come unprepared to this industry now, in the sense that uh, Mumbai is not a place where they harness talent. It is a place where your talent sees execution. So you can't come unprepared to the city anymore. Something that a lot of people could do in probably my times, but it's something that it's a luxury you can ill afford. It has changed a lot. We have seen our own ups and downs. Well, when I came in, a lot of good work was happening, and I've been a part of a few projects. And then, the the big bindis and the eyelashes and kaan ke kundal, all and bade bade heere javarat, all the jewelry took over. तब मुझे पता चला कि पल्ला सर पे रख के सोया कैसे जाता है. मुझे इससे पहले आइडिया नहीं था. So, but then I took a conscious decision to not become a part of that bandwagon. And luckily, I never was a part of any show of that genre or genre, as it is pretty pronounced. Um, yeah, that did do a lot of damage when we started making stuff, thinking that this is what the audiences wanted to see. Whereas earlier, even in Doordarshan days, projects were made keeping in mind what we would want to show the audiences and not what the audiences would want to see. So yeah, we did lose a lot of mileage in between because ये कोई reason नहीं है that just for your programming and for your financial gains to say that we are just giving the audiences what they are looking for. तो फिर तो ऑडियंस अगर कल बोलेगी कि हमें मुजरा देखना है तो हर चैनल पे मुजरा तो नहीं चलवा सकते ना. सो समवेयर आपकी भी एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है कि आप किस तरह का शो बनाए. बट देन दोस थिंग्स वर्क. उसके पीछे की कुछ और अलग कहानियां भी हैं which obviously there's no point discussing now because it's been a long time. The fact is that those shows were successful, and the fact is that Indian television uh, went through a reform, but not necessarily for the betterment of it. Uh, but I think a lot of things are going to change post this lockdown because the cinema halls are going to remain empty at least for the next 1 year. Even if you were to, allow people in tomorrow, I don't think people are really going to take that chance of going and watching films in a cinema hall. So all the OTT platforms are flourishing because that remains one way, one mode of entertainment. Television could actually learn a lot because you have been catering to some false audiences. Let me be honest, because there was a time when, well, it was not said, but it was almost said that if you are intelligent, don't come and watch TV because of the kind of shows that were being made. So you were basically not willing to cater to the intelligent audiences. And, it really does not matter whether you make shows about rural India or urban India. You should be able to make a good story. And that is exactly where we were lacking. I have seen shows, and it's a very famous incident. In one of the shows, the husband tells the wife, कि अच्छा मेरा laptop साफ करके रख देना. She actually washes it. And when the husband comes back home, the laptop is found drying on the line. And this is not a joke. This is exactly what had happened. So you were basically challenging the basic intelligence of the audiences too, and they were still lapping it up. I don't know for what reason, but now they rarely have the time, or rather the opportunity, to change things around because everybody's going to watch television now. Though I just spoke to a friend of mine who works on in one of the channels, and he said that only 60% of the people have come back to watching television because in the last 3.5 months that have gone by, a lot of habits have changed. So people will take time to come back to television. But then ultimately, if you want entertainment, this is where you're going to find entertainment. So they will come back. And if they come back, then be ready with some sensible stuff because they just might want to watch it.
And a follow-up to that, do you see some changes coming in from the writers and the producers in the industry on the TV side? Are you seeing them start to notice?
Too early for that. Too early for that because the shoots have just started probably a month back. Yeah. And most of the shoots which have started are of the shows which were already on air. A lot of shows have been taken off air off air, which weren't doing well, and probably the makers and the channel thought that there was no point keeping the shows alive. But I think, yeah, there are some 8 to 10 new shows going on floor now. So we'll have to wait and watch what really comes out of it.
A question from Awan is, your sister Alka ji is also in Hindi cinema and TV shows. Do you have any plans to collaborate with your real life sister on camera?
Well, it does not depend on me at all. If any producer wants to cast the two of us together, well, we would not have a problem. But I don't think anybody has a. People have not thought of casting me with my wife.
Fair enough. Wait, those decisions don't stop with us.
Exactly. Do you guys want to watch a clip from his early days? This is from his very first show. So just give me a second. Let me try to get it on the screen. Hold on a second. And let me play this. And I'm going to pause it. Okay. All right. Share. Hold on. And I'm going to share. And I'm going to share. Let me know if you guys can see it. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Audio.
ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा है क्या? Oh, one
नहीं.
second. Hold on. Why isn't the audio coming?
You gotta share your computer audio. You know that, right?
अरे मैंने करा यार. That's what I did.
Volume का लोचा होगा.
नहीं, volume का लोचा तो नहीं होना चाहिए. Hold on. Hang on a second here. Share. Okay. Why? Oh, computer sound. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Okay, so शुरू से करता हूँ, ठीक है? Hold on a second. So this was pretty cute. Actually, your sister sent it this morning, Kalindi. She couldn't join. I wish she had joined. She's very sweet, and I just want you to know that वो तेरे पे जान छिड़कती है, जैसे बोलते हैं ना, like she is your biggest cheerleader, your biggest supporter. I don't know, you know, कि और मतलब मेरे जैसे और तेरे fans हैं, दूसरे के नहीं है, but I think Kalindi Di is absolutely amazing, and I can, you know, tell you that शुरू से ही जो भी तेरा कोई भी काम होता है, anything that you do, be it your writing or your acting or anything that you've done, she's right there as your cheerleader, you know.
Yeah, I do know. In fact, मेरा फेसबुक पेज वही मैनेज करती है, क्योंकि मुझे ज़रा, मैं टेक्नोलॉजिकली चैलेंज्ड हूँ. जो आदमी, जो मैंने अभी बताया कि अभी मैंने अपना आज इंस्टाग्राम जो है वो डिलीट कर दिया, तो हर कुछ एक दिन में चले जाना चाहिए इन सब चीज़ों से बाहर. एक तो वैसे ही समझ में नहीं आता है, उसके बाद जितने फॉलोअर्स, ये वो फलाना ढिमाका, मतलब this girl बच्चू जो है वो okay, whenever I say बच्चू that means अंजलि ततरारी. उसने कुछ 30-35 हज़ार फॉलोअर्स से शुरू किया था ये शो, और वो कुछ 1,15,000 के आसपास पहुंच गई है. मैंने 4-5 से शुरू किया था और मेरे से 40 क्रॉस नहीं हो रहे. तो मतलब उसको कभी जूते, कभी कपड़े, पता नहीं क्या क्या मिलते रहते हैं फ्री में, वो अपने फोटो वोटो खींच के डालती रहती है. So, but then I guess probably it is made for us. संजय मिश्रा जो है, उनको बोलो कभी कि व्हाट्सएप पे अपना, सॉरी, इंस्टाग्राम पे कुछ डाल दिया करिए ये सब कुछ. तो कहते हैं देखो, अगर दर्ज होना है तो इतिहास के पन्ने में दर्ज हो, ये इंस्टाग्राम पे दर्ज होके क्या फायदा होगा. हम लोग सारे के सारे उसी तरबियत के लोग हैं. But yeah, she does put in a huge effort. मतलब पता नहीं कहाँ कहाँ से चीजें निकाल निकाल के डालती है, मुझे तो पता भी नहीं होता है कि मतलब कहीं कुछ छप जाए मेरे बारे में और वो ना डाले, ऐसा हो नहीं सकता।
नहीं, बट इंस्टाग्राम की प्रोफाइल होना जरूरी इसलिए नहीं कि लोग तुझे फॉलो करे या कुछ, लेकिन इसलिए कि अगर कोई यादें हैं, जैसे तेरी फोटोज हैं उनको तू डाल सकता है, या अगर जैसे मैंने अभी ये तेरे तेरे इंटरव्यू को पब्लिश करना था, तो मैं चाहता हूं कि मैं तुझे टैग कर पाऊं उसमें, और अगर तेरी प्रोफाइल नहीं है तो टैग करना मुश्किल होगा। और ये जो इंस्टाग्राम की प्रोफाइल, number of followers really do not matter. I think the quality of followers matter, because number of followers, मतलब उनके जो 1,15,000 फॉलोअर्स हैं अंजलि के, वो हर दिन आके उसकी प्रोफाइल नहीं देखते होंगे, और तेरे जो 40-50 हैं, हो सकता है कि वो हर दिन तेरी प्रोफाइल देखते होंगे। तेरे बहुत से फॉलोअर्स हैं, आई मीन टू गिव देम अ शाउट आउट। देयर इज दिस गर्ल मेघा बत्रा भटनागर हु इज इन पार्सिपनी, न्यूयॉर्क। शी इज लाइक के दो बच्चे, बेचारी नई नई मॉम, एंड शी गोज आई, वो अपने आप को कर्स कर रही है दैट शी कैन बी ऑन द शो, शी वांटेड टू बी ऑन द शो, एंड मुझसे बातें करना चाहती थी, नहीं आ पा रही। देन देयर इज अनदर गर्ल इन पुणे, प्रेरणा, लास्ट नेम विदहेल्ड, शी इज आल्सो अ वेरी बिग फैन ऑफ योर्स। तो इस तरह जो तेरे 40-50 फैंस हैं, वो तेरी प्रोफाइल हर दिन विजिट कर सकते हैं, और जिनके 1,15,000 या 2 लाख फॉलोअर्स हैं, हो सकता है कि वो महीने में एक बार प्रोफाइल को चेक करे। तो इसमें क्वालिटी वर्सेस क्वांटिटी का डिफरेंस होता है। क्वालिटी इज गोना बी हाई।
प्रॉब्ली इसीलिए मैंने एक बार एक ट्रैफिक जाम में फंसे हुए थे तो एक गाना डाल दिया।
सुना?
उसके कुछ 2.25-2.5 लाख की व्यूज थे, या पता नहीं क्या था। प्रोफाइल विजिट्स उसके चक्कर में कुछ 7 लाख थी। मतलब
सुना
वही
ना,
है
हमको
जब।
सुना यार।
अच्छा, गा के हवाओं में बहेंगे, घटाओं में रहेंगे, तू बरखा मेरी, मैं तेरा पागल पिया, जो तेरे न हुए तो किसी के न रहेंगे, दीवानी तू मेरी, मैं तेरा पागल पिया। हजारों में किसी को तकदीर ऐसी मिली है, एक रांझा और हीर जैसी। न जाने ये जमाना क्यों चाहे रे मिटाना, कलंक नहीं इश्क है काजल पिया, कलंक नहीं इश्क है काजल पिया।
वाह, दिल से गाता है यार, जब भी गाता है दिल से गाता है। ये बात तेरे बारे में इतना कह सकता हूं कि जो चीज तू करता है वो दिल से करता है, एंड ये बहुत एक अच्छी खूबी होती है इंसान की, कि जो करो दिल से करो, चाहे तुम लिखो, चाहे तुम एक्ट करो, चाहे तुम क्रिकेट खेलो। तो
आई थिंक केंद्रीय विद्यालय काठमांडू में श्रीराम बलवन जो मैंने गाया था, दैट वाज क्वाइट अ नाइस ब्रेक ऑफ क्वाइट अ फ्यू।
आई नो, काफी फैंस तेरी बन गई थी, तेरी झंडी आजकल भी हिलाती हैं वो, याद करती हैं। आई नहीं, वो अलग बात है, क्योंकि अब कहीं रोटी पक रही होगी, कहीं बर्तन धुल रहे होंगे, तो इसलिए नहीं आ पाई शो पे। लेकिन उन्होंने सबने तुझे हाय कहने के लिए कहा है, तेरी सारी फैंस ने। और तेरा जो जो तूने जो पोएम तूने पढ़ी थी, या जो गाना तूने गाया था, वो सबको याद है। ये तो तुझे भी पता होगा, तुझे मैंने व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में डाला था।
हाँ, इनफैक्ट अभी उनमें से एक ने मुझे मैसेज करके बोला कि आज रामनवमी है, तो श्री राम भजन गा के फिर पोस्ट कर दो। मैंने कहा उसके लिए रामचरितमानस खोलनी पड़ेगी मुझे, मैं उस समय तो याद करके आ गया था फिर।
नहीं नहीं, वेरी गुड यार। अगर तेरे को याद है, थोड़ा सा याद है, तो गा दे रामचरितमानस, तो खुश हो जाएंगी जब रिकॉर्डिंग डालेंगे तो।
श्री रामचंद्र कृपालो भजवन हरण भव भय दारुणम, नवकंज लोचन कंज मुख पद कंज पद कंजारुणम, इतना याद है अभी.
यार मतलब क्या कहूँ, it's मिस्री घुल गई कानों में. It's very
Pretty
beautiful.
nostalgic, I dare say.
You know, this is right after high school. I think this is the first time after high school that I've heard you sing. And amazing. I mean, बहुत talented चीज है यार तू. I mean, छुपा हुआ हीरा है. That's what I can say. That you know, I'm very proud to call you a friend. And
हीरे तो है धूल में पड़े types.
अरे जान दे अब यार, तू ज्यादा फिश मत कर कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स के लिए.
अरे नहीं, ये ऐड हुआ करता था, एक रेडियो पे बहुत आता था, फैमिली प्लानिंग का ऐड था.
तो उससे क्या मतलब हुआ फैमिली प्लानिंग का ऐड आता था.
लाइन जो है ना, हीरे तो है पर धूल में पड़े. I remember this line was from that ad.
तो तुझसे मैं पूछना चाह रहा था, टेल अस अबाउट, आई थिंक मैं 95 में जिस टाइम तू बॉम्बे गया था नया नया, आई थिंक उसी टाइम मैं काठमांडू से आया था दिल्ली, ग्रीन पार्क, एंड तेरे आई जस्ट वेंट एंड आई स्टेड विद योर पेरेंट्स एंड
you went and stayed in Samachar Apartments, Mayur Vihar.
Okay, which year was that?
That must have been in 96, late 96 or early 97.
Yeah, but I think you know, your parents still welcomed me with open arms. मैंने सीधा जाके बोला जी मैं वरुण का दोस्त हूँ, I need a place to stay.
वो मुझे पता चला था कि घर में जाकर तूने बोला तो मैं जाऊँ कहाँ, जगह तो है नहीं यहाँ पे.
मैंने झूठ बोला, मेरी दादी रहती थी वहां पे, मेरे चाचा बुआ सब दिल्ली में रहते थे. मैंने जाके बोला मैं जाऊँ कहाँ, because I wanted to stay with your family, you know, that's the reason why. Sorry about that.
इनफैक्ट उसके कुछ एक दिन के बाद मुझे पता चला, बिकॉज ना मोबाइल फोन होते थे ना कुछ, सो ट्रंक कॉल मारना पड़ता था घर में ये पता करने के लिए क्या हाल चाल है.
So tell me about your days in Green Park and your cricket playing. तेरा cricket का जो passion था, how was all that, you know, back then, and कहाँ से वो acting? I know that your dad is a renowned theater actor, and I think I want to show people a few photos, family photos, but do tell us about your days in Green Park and your love of cricket.
So Green Park, yeah, after we shifted from Allahabad, that was we stayed a few days with one of our relatives, and then we shifted to Malviya Nagar, and then finally we came to Green Park. I spent some 10 odd years there, and वहीं पे गली में ही, मतलब मेरी एज ग्रुप के काफी सारे बच्चे तो थे ही, तो खेलना मिलना तो वहां से शुरू हो ही गया था. बट the school that I went to actually had a great cricket team. In fact, my school has produced some 5 to 6 international cricketers and some 11 to 12 Ranji players. When I was playing for my school, so Gagan Khoda was my captain, who has opened for India twice, and actually can boast of an average of over 50 in those 2 matches. And then Rahul Sangvi, who was a left arm spinner, played for India too, and these two are my chadi buddies. Rahul Sangvi is now the manager of the Mumbai Indians, and Murli Karthik was a year junior. Deepdas Gupta was again 1 year junior to me, though I played the under 15 tournament against Deepdas Gupta, who was in some other school at that time. And quite a few of them actually. Ajay Jadeja was 1 or 2 years senior to me. Vivek Rajdan was another senior who played for India. So the school had a great tradition for the game, and but I did not really continue for long. But the passion for the game still exists. I represented the Hindi film industry, the Mumbai film industry in the CCL, and I've done rather well for them. And then I do play for the television team too, and we have some good talent playing for that team. So Yeah, but Green Park was a great time. You know, I still have a lot of associations from a time back in Green Park, and I still do meet them, do talk to them every now and then. Um, then my father, so what he made sure was that whenever he did a play, um, all the kids were always around. So I have probably seen theater from almost every nook and corner of an auditorium. जो ऊपर तरापे होते हैं जहाँ पे लाइट लगती है, मैंने वहां से लेट के एक परफॉर्मेंस देखा है प्ले का. और because probably my father was so big, nobody stopped me from doing anything. So I could just walk into any area of the auditorium and just plonk myself there. So वो सारी चीजें करने के बाद then I used to go for the rehearsals. So एक जब आप इतना ज्यादा किसी एक चीज के अंदर घुस के रहते हो तो अल्टीमेटली फिर आपको वो चीज अच्छी भी लगने लगती है अगर इंटरेस्ट हो आपका. जैसे घर पे बैठ के स्क्रिप्ट रीडिंग अगर पापा को कभी करनी है किसी प्ले की, तो आई यूज्ड टू हेल्प हिम डू हिज लाइंस. That's how I got to know how a character is approached, um, because he was a fantabulous singer himself. So whenever I sang with him, वो रियाज हो जाता था. आप घर पे बैठ के उनके सर पे तेल लगा रहे हो, so आपको ताल देनी पड़ेगी. That's how you learnt about different tals and different ragas. So it was a pretty wholesome experience, and the best part is that you were learning without the feeling of attending a class or being around a teacher. So I benefited a lot from those times. Um, a lot of people say that you should have gone to the National School of Drama and probably studied theater there. I should have. I would have benefited a lot. But when you have an institution like the one I had at home, there's so many things which are taken care of. So I had that head start over quite a few people when I came to Bombay.
Excellent. And I'm preparing a photo show for you guys. So please, dil tham ke baithiye, because I'm about to start sharing. Give me 1 second. These are very candid photographs from all the way from your days, the first days in Mumbai, your first apartment in, I think, was it Goregaon, the 707 wala apartment?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. So I am going to start. Give me 1 second. And where am I? I am going to share my screen. I am going to share yahan se. That's your little one, right? Okay. Now, how do I move forward? I'm going to move to the next one.
That's my son.
Huh?
This
one?
Yeah. This one?
Which photo are you looking at right now?
I'm in a orange t-shirt and holding on to a boy who's wearing a blue shirt and a check trouser.
Okay, so it doesn't. All right. ये अगली वाली फोटो पे नहीं जा रहा है, इसी पे अटका हुआ है. रुकता है 1 second. 1 second. इसका फंडा क्या है? रुको, इसको बंद करा मैंने. Then I'm gonna share the next one. Let me bring up one that I think everybody is gonna love. This is I must share this one. So this is Kalindi Didi, who is actually the one who has shared these photographs. I must credit her for that. And she is Varun's biggest supporter and also his social media manager, I would say, if I may say that. And let me see. Yeah, there must be an easier way for me to just share photos one after the other, you know. This is craziness.
There has to be a right arrow on your.
Right arrow nahi hai, left arrow hai. That's the problem.
नहीं एकदम right में. If you hover your mouse on the middle of the right on your
Remote.
screen itself.
I'm doing that. It doesn't show me anything. Let me see. Slideshow. Okay.
Slideshow लगा दे.
Slideshow लगा देता हूँ ना. This is your family photographs.
Yeah.
Your dad, mom. Lovely photos. Black and white photos. Lovely.
This was right after coming back from
Yeah.
Madhu.
And that's this bike. I love this bike.
तो आप आयुष कुमार
अब इनको तो देख चुके हैं ये वाले. Yeah. इसके बारे में भी बात करेंगे. About अपहरण सबका कटेगा. We didn't talk about this yet. ये आगे नहीं बढ़ रहा स्लाइड शो के रुको. This is as a model. क्या बात, क्या बात. Oh ho. This is with your family. Just a biker. This is with your dad. Right. And what is this for? ये जो तू कर रहा है ये पगड़ी में. What show is this?
This is your SAP India ने मुझे invite किया था ramp walk के लिए. I had quite a few friends there.
This photo, I think, is the photo where you guys started, Kalindi and you in 707 apartment. That's what she said.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what
The first apartment I bought.
this first apartment. Yeah. Okay. So let me see. There are. This is the first one. Okay. So that's the end of the slideshow. That was absolutely phenomenal. And I must thank, Kalindi for sharing these lovely photos with us. And I think, it's fortunate to have a sibling who loves and dotes on you that much because, they become your biggest cheerleaders and they support you. And you're very fortunate to have. And I also think you're very fortunate to have a lovely wife and a lovely son. And I think your household, from what I know, is that there is no preferential treatment to any gender. So you guys are gender, very fair people, so to speak, and you respect women a lot.
So my father pampered my two sisters much more than my mother could pamper me alone.
And that's the way it should be.
मतलब loss तो मेरा था ना.
तेरा loss नहीं बेटा. तुझको तो प्यार सबने करा. तेरी mom, तेरे dad, तेरी बहनें सब तेरे को प्यार because obviously you're the only brother. So that goes without saying, but it's काफी अच्छा लगता है कि मतलब इंडिया में ऐसी फैमिलीज हों जो कि बेटियों को भी उतना ही प्यार करे, बेटियों को भी उतना ही पूछें जितना कि बेटों को पूछे. तो ऐसी फैमिलीज के बारे में पढ़ के सुन के बहुत अच्छा लगता है. Yeah. Anjali, you had a question?
Yeah. So a question is, besides outside of acting, you're also doing some writing, as I understand, and say directing. Could you tell us a little bit about that? What you might be writing?
So I wrote this one show called Aparan. It got released in December 2018. And then recently this one show called Andekhi released on Sony Live, probably just 3 weeks back. I'm a very reluctant writer. I had not written anything in 10 years before Siddharth Sen Gupta, Goldie, came up to me with Aparan and said that he wanted me to do the dialogues. And I told him that I haven't written anything in the last 10 years. So he said, fine, give it a shot. Uh, um, and it so happened that we wrote 12 episodes in a row without any rejections. So that was quite an achievement. And then this other show was being made. I was not writing it initially, somebody else was. But then, they were at it for almost 8 to 10 months before I came in. And the same thing happened. Goldie took over the screenplay. I started doing the dialogues, and we wrote 10, one after the other. And the show was put on floor. So I'm writing one for Netflix, um, and writing another one for Hotstar. So still a very reluctant writer because writing needs so much of effort. It's hard work. Writing is real hard work, and who wants to work that hard there? But I'm told that if you're good at something, never give it up. And so, not left with any option.
I guess following up to that, was that how you were, I mean, is that how lockdown and quarantine time was occupied with a lot of writing? Or, also as an actor myself, we talk about having some sort of riyaz routine or something.
So,
were you able to keep up with all that? Or what did quarantine look like for you?
actually, I did get through the quarantine pretty well, I must say. But then, not that I was working a lot or I spent a lot of time writing, because for writing every scene, well, the writing time is only 15 minutes, but you just loiter around, you walk around the streets, just thinking about that scene, something that we weren't allowed to do at all. So your mind actually goes for a toss, and after a few days, your mind actually starts to play games with you. It is not very easy to work in those conditions. Um, I could only manage 2 episodes, and I could only manage 2 episodes because Siddharth Gupta, who was doing the screenplay, could manage only 2 episodes. So he did the screenplay. I had to do the dialogues, and we found that no, it wasn't easy. Excuse me. It wasn't easy because you know once your freedom is taken away, your faculties don't really behave in the same manner. They are not at their optimum best. So, but then, yeah, all so many people exercised so much of patience, and so did I. So, yeah, we did get through the lockdown pretty well. Okay, so uh, that's my wife just entered the room.
Oh, so let's say hello to her.
सुनो वाइफ की हालत ऐसी है कि वो किचन से निकल के आई है
क्या
आवाज काफी है
क्या पक रहा है किचन में, हमें भी तो बताइए।
यहाँ अफवाहें पकती है और कुछ नहीं होता। बोल तो ऐसे नहीं जैसे खुद ही तंदूर से निकल के आई।
ऐसा ही होता है। So I guess it पता भी नहीं चला कि 1 घंटा 15 मिनट बीत गए आपसे बात करते करते। लग रहा है कि अभी तो शुरू हो रहे हैं, but I know that it's getting late. आपके लिए भी must be late for you. It must be like about 10:15 p.m. And you.
Yeah, so our day starts very early now because there is a lockdown still in place.
Yeah.
So 9 o'clock curfew शुरू हो जाता है. So इसलिए you have to get up at 5 in the morning, leave, reach shoot at 7, and then shoot till 7 in the evening. So
wow.
It's a new lifestyle.
Yeah. I can, कम से कम वहाँ पे शूट शुरू हो गई है, यहाँ पे तो शूटिंग भी शुरू नहीं हो पाई है न्यूयॉर्क वगैरह में।
ये ब्लैकलिस्ट वगैरह कहाँ शूट कर रहे हैं? उसका तो 8th सीजन ये लोग डाल रहे हैं अभी, सुना है।
I'm not following, तो मुझे पता नहीं है। I don't know offhand where they are shooting. There is something that is happening in सुना था कि एक फीचर फिल्म है इंडिया की, वो जो डैलस में शूट हो रही है, लेकिन डैलस में नहीं कर पाएंगे because the numbers are crazy and I have heard that they are probably going to shoot West Coast में, like Seattle वगैरह में. That's pretty much. But जहाँ तक shows की बात है, it could be with social distancing and all जो लोग ये लोग कर रहे होंगे, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot is being done right now.
What is the condition there? The actual ground reality in the US?
Not pretty. Not pretty. I mean, like, most states are on the rise as far as numbers are concerned. New York, New Jersey, these are the two states that the numbers were coming down. But abhi students ne kya kiya hai ki they've started doing, they go out to party and all that stuff. They rent houses and they go to, like, there's a town which is about 10 minutes from my house called Jackson. And there were 700 people in a rented house. The Airbnb said they rented a house and they were partying over there and the police had to come and break it up. So things like these actually cause the numbers to go up, Very scary.
And I guess somewhere the lack of amenities in India has helped. The immunity, the basic immunity of Indians is better. If people could afford to walk 15 days back to their home,
Yeah.
From Mumbai and other places, that speaks a lot.
No, that
Somebody
again.
said, ये बीमारी जो है ना गरीबों के लिए नहीं है.
अरे ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. लेकिन ये है कि yeah, I mean, they can probably, they can probably hold out much longer than normal people because of the fact that they are hardworking people, and for some reason I think they outlive the virus. But nobody pretty much can outlive the virus if they don't take care of themselves and they don't put a mask on. So the message should be to put your mask on wherever you are. Otherwise, you won't last too long. That is the message. So with that said, I would like to bid you good night and thank you for your time. You have been very kind, and literally this is one of the interviews that I will remember and cherish forever because it's my dear friend. And also the way that you have shared your views with us. And, thank you everybody for coming out as well. And thank you, Anjali, for being such a lovely guest host. And, Varun, if any parting thoughts, Varun, anything you want to say to your fans?
So today I met Anjali.
Gotta start practicing.
I met Anjali yesterday. I actually got introduced to Anjali yesterday by a good friend. So this is my second day knowing Anjali.
Anjali, bracket, pronounced Anjali. Bracket close.
I have to work on.
As if they pronounce Khurana properly. Or you're going to find something like that too.
Well, actually, it's pronounced Corona. in the US. So before this whole virus, people would get excited and be like the beer? And now it's like the virus. So I haven't attempted a pronunciation bar for my last name.
That's all right. A few people will keep their distance just by hearing the name.
Yeah, might be better.
Like we say, that even after the lockdown is taken off, I'm not going to tell a few people that social distancing does not exist anymore.
Makes sense. Yeah, maybe. I never thought of the mispronunciation of my last name as a...
तुम तो एक step आगे हो. Anjali Corona. Like, seriously.
Oh God.
You'll always be in news.
It should be Corona Saab.
Corona come. Excellent. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is great. Thank you.
This is awesome. Thank you, everybody. Yep. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. I'm going to show everybody's face one last time. Thank you very much for joining us. And this has been an awesome interview, very candid interview with Varun Badola. And please, watch for the edited video to come out with all the bells and the whistles. Okay. Thank you and good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.